Welcome to Beauty Business Matters. I'm Susan Routledge, your host. And today we are with Josh Yardley from the Smart Group. Josh has been a guest in the past, but now it's a lot more exciting because Josh and the Smart Group are also partnering and sponsoring with the podcast as well. So that is very exciting. We've also just recently done an event together. But the Smart Group is, it's a company that I've worked with my clinic for many, many, many years, just because the equipment's so good. And as well, you guys are awesome. So, Josh, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
And do you want to do just a little bit of an intro about you and about the company? Because I'm sure I haven't done it justice there.
That was very kind of you. The Smart Group, we have been going in our present format for 17 years. So we've got a bit of experience. The principals have been in our lovely industry for too long, over 30. It's never too long in this industry. And we love it, obviously. You yourself, it's a great industry to be in. It's full of really fantastic, dynamic people that care for their customers. And if we can support that through finding innovation that will help deliver results for their clients, will increase and endorse what salon owners stand for, and can be a little bit cutting edge and maybe a little bit different. We'll be delighted to do that, and try and put them into a space where perhaps elevating them out of the congested waters of competition and create a speciality or help them become specialists in what they do is what we love doing.
I think you touched on a few things there. I mean, it is a sea of equipment out there now, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I always say to anyone, if you are looking for equipment, it's not just the equipment that you're looking for. You're looking for that support around it. You're looking for that, the security of knowing that if something happens, that you've got someone you can talk to straight away. And that's what I love about you guys. The other thing that I do also love is, and you touched on that as well, the innovation side.
Yeah.
That every time we talk, you're on the next thing or researching the next thing, or and I know you guys have just come back from Malta, being over there doing a show over there but there's just always something happening. You never sit on your laurels. That's what I love about you guys.
Yeah, well, I don't think you can afford to sit on anything these days. I mean, by the very nature of technology and the internet, the world has got smaller in terms of accessibility to a much wider array of things and knowledge. But with that comes a huge amount of disinformation as well. And if our customers or salon professionals are looking into that world, lots of shiny bells and whistles look lovely, but do they have any provenance? And you're right, buying a piece of equipment for the right reasons, that you want to enhance results and your reputation with your clients and provide your clients with quicker or faster or better treatments. That's all very well. It's when it doesn't go quite right, and whether that's education, whether that's the equipment itself, whether that's knowing how to promote it, whether that's actually finding out if there's a market for it. We quite often find when we get introduced to clients, we may have done a bit of marketing, they might have liked something that we've done, and they might have a perception of what they would like to put that into their clinic. But the first thing that we do is let's just do a discovery call first and see if there's a demand for this treatment. I think, and I say it often, I think that phrase supply and demand was probably written by somebody that was maybe dyslexic, because I think it's the wrong way around. I think you need to ascertain if there's a demand first, and then if there is, can I supply it to a standard that I want to? And I also think, and that's kind of a common, and I'm not going to say mistake, but because it isn't a mistake, but that would be the logical way to do it, is, I've seen this kind of technology everywhere, so I'm going to introduce it to my salon, but let's just see if you've got the customer base. And then I think the other thing that is vital and that we try and help with is, what is your dream client? Yeah. Unless you have a clear identity of the kind of client that you want, how can you then provide a service to meet that? And there is a range of clients, as there is a range of supermarkets. Yeah, all supermarkets are pretty successful. They predominantly supply different segments and demographics of client. You've got to choose what kind of supermarket you are. And then from that, we can then decide which is the right produce to put on your shelf, because that's the audience that are coming through your door.
Yeah, I know. I always talk about supermarkets. You've got your different levels, and then you've got that in the middle where it's just the sea of like so many businesses, the same kind of thing.
Yeah.
But as well, you know, the thing is that I think a lot of where equipment has been sold wrongly in the past, is it wrongly? Well, yes, it's a little bit unethical, is where, you know, it shows in different things. It's where someone has to, like, you know, it's a show offer and that's it. And you got, you know, if you don't make a decision, then you're going to lose this offer. And I've seen over the years so many go to shows and then buy something because either they've thought, oh, I'd like to have that treatment, or that it's been a show offer.
Yeah.
And I always like to say, you know, do your research beforehand. Ask your clients what they want. Make sure that is and sell it before you buy it. So, you know, like, make sure that you've got pre-orders for it. And you know, with things like lasers and that, I was, funny enough, on last week, I was speaking to someone who'd gone and bought a laser, but hadn't done any research around it. Mm-hmm. They clearly haven't bought the right laser for their clientele.
Yeah.
But they've invested over £30,000,
Yeah.
and it's like, you know, you just think, oh, so doing it like how you do it with a discovery call first. And I do know that you guys turn people away from buying things if it's not right for them, which to me is ethically how it should be, because it's such a big investment as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's probably their biggest single investment outside of the commitment to a lease. Their first piece of equipment, that generalist beauty salon that's predominantly been hands-on in their treatments, from nails and massage and facials, and now they're going to buy an energy-based device, and a laser hair removal machine is a good choice, because the modern day lasers can treat all skin types, and 98% of females remove hair, a growing amount of males remove hair. So you're looking for a product that's going to be used a lot, not sit in the corner and have no friends, a laser hair removal. But you need to have the right one for your market and your clientele. And you're so right, it's that emotional buy because it's a show. But what you really should be doing as a business person is having a look at your market, where it sits, what's your best-selling price point.
Yeah.
Don't expect clients that if your best-selling treatment is a £50 massage, why do you think they'll pay £150 for a facial all of a sudden? So does it fit into the business model? And then is there a demand? And they should be really talking to suppliers that may be at that show beforehand. We definitely encourage that. Definitely have the information. Good suppliers should be able to provide some form of simple business plan.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Check the price points matched and those things. There's a synergy. We offer, believe it or not, 6 models of laser hair removal to suit the different types of clinics and salons. So the beauty maybe that we have is because we also have a division that supplies medical aesthetic clinics.
Yes.
So lots of our innovation for the beauty sector so much, or the advanced beauty sector, is that we can take those technologies and bring them into and package them so they're suitable for today's advancing beauty therapists, to make them a little bit different. But you're so right. Do your homework first for both supplier side and your consumer side. Then you come armed with the knowledge. And, you know, yes, you could say we turn away people, but then that would be stupid business. We may align people in a different direction that's more suitable for them, putting the right product, perhaps not for what they thought, oh, I love that, I want it.
Yeah.
Let's focus on the end user. And if we can agree that this service, this platform, this skincare, whatever is right for your majority end user, you've got a good chance of getting that return on investment, enhancing your reputation, having happy clients, and they're all the three wins that a business person wants. They want their customers to love them. They want to see their customers more often. They want their customers to spend a bit more but see value in what they're offering. And if you get that from a consumer and it's well supported and you're educated and you've got a company behind you, then the whole supply chain wins, from the person who made it in a factory to the person that eventually benefits from that treatment. And that's how we try and work as we don't have accounts or we don't have customer numbers. We have clients and partners. And if we have that approach throughout the company and we work together, then everybody wins.
Yeah. And I always say to someone, it's vital to do your research first. And it's very true what you're saying, because if you've built a client base where it is at a price point of £50-60, it's not going to fix your business by bringing in a new piece of equipment necessarily. It's and that's a lot of the time I'll speak to someone and they'll be like, oh, I need a new piece of equipment. And I'll be, but why? And it needs to be that they fix the gap in the business first before bringing it in, and then bringing it in at the right time. The business then is prepped ready, and the clients are prepped ready for that new piece.
And it can be quite a simple process. We provide, from a discovery call, get an understanding of where they think their business is. We're kind of in the envious position that we kind of sit a bit like a satellite looking down. So we go, okay, and we do...
without the emotion, because that's the thing as well, because someone's desperate to get something in to fix the business or whatever,
exactly.
But you're looking down on it and and looking at the bigger picture.
And say, okay, and then we can make reference, and so we, with 800 to 1,000 salons and clinics that we've serviced, we can group, heavens forbid, but we can put people into groups and go, actually, you do fit into a category that we do quite well at. So may we suggest X, Y, and Z, and why don't you speak to A, B, and C, because they've been on that journey. And before you go anywhere, why don't we send you a little promotional business, B2C, send that out to your database and said, I've done some research, I'm thinking about introducing this. Would this be something that you like? And if you get a positive response, that's your wish list, isn't it? That's your wait list already there.
Well, that's what I would say to someone. If someone's said, yeah, we'd love that, then you say, right, we're getting that in because you said you really liked it.
Absolutely. And it doesn't, we try and do a little bit more subtle of that and say, please DM me if you're interested in this kind of thing. And then that we can go in with the partner and go, there's your first 30 or 40 customers. Now treat them to a launch night.
Yeah.
They're the VIPs. They've asked for it. You've demanded it. We are doing you a service that you've asked for it. You want to have the latest Harley Street skin rejuvenation treatment, and we can do that for you in Peterborough, Northampton, Durham, wherever. It's here today, and there's our first 30 customers. And of course, we help and support in that way, and a launch night happens, and those first 30 people are the momentum. But it's then using a little bit of nous, a bit of marketing, and taking some good pictures and content, and telling the rest of your client base, look at these lovely happy 30 people that we've got in this launch night. If you're interested, come in and we'll give you a consultation. And that's how you get momentum.
Yeah. And before we went into lockdown, having events was quite a thing.
Yeah.
I think once it went into lockdown, for some reason, a lot of clinic and salon owners since then, sort of backed away from it. We don't think clients would want to come to an event. Clients absolutely love events. The whole thing is that it's just a get together, but with a purpose. Clients love to learn about something new. They love to all be together. But it's so profitable as well. I mean, we did it when we took the Mesotix in. We it was just a tiny little event we did, just invited, a handful of clients.
Intimacy.
But we took a lot of money that night.
And lots of happy customers. So it's win-win,
exactly,
isn't it?
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think lockdown and COVID and just getting away from the very strange times all that was. Prior to that, I think business owners in our industry, just generally actually, not just our industry, Zoom calls, we hadn't even heard of Zoom, yeah? Had we? I can't even remember the videoing conferencing Microsoft platform that closed down last year. I can't even remember its name. Skype, there you are. I mean, how many Skype calls did we make? It was there for 15 years. And then lockdown happened. This brand called Zoom kind of just jumped out. And probably our first call on Zoom, video call, was to the people that we love. So we now have a brand, a communication system, and we assimilate it to the people closest to us, so it suddenly brings trust. Then everything went screen, didn't it? It was Zoom this, Zoom that, and we can have Teams and all the different brands that are out there. And I think now, what are we, 6 years later on, it's gone, actually, what I miss most, actually, is a little bit of, I'm in the interaction, I'm the gregarious. Our business is about people. And bringing that down and humanising it. And we found that in the event we did. That whole event was about us giving back to the industry we love, and humanising it and getting people in the room together, giving them some education, not on beauty stuff, but on real life business skills with some fabulous experts, which brilliant recruitment, Susan. Amazing. And there's a story about that I learned in Malta, that knew two of the three speakers that you brought into the event and just couldn't say higher words, which is really interesting, and not from the beauty or aesthetic industry, but from business consulting development industry. They're known on the circuit. So to give clinic and salon owners access to these people, experts on how to develop their business with the tools that they've never been taught. Well, we know what the feedback was, and it was a great success, and hopefully we'll do lots more of them. But it's that humanising again, and understanding that actually working as humans together for other humans can produce great results, rather than look at AI now. We can do videos that metamorphosize products into dreams, you know.
Well, but that's getting quite dangerous, though, isn't it? Because you don't know what's real and what's not. But in-person events aren't. So anyone listening who, I don't think we a few months ago now, isn't it? 2 months ago, we did an event called the Business Growth Summit. And Josh and I and like the Smart Group, we've been talking about doing an event together since. Too long, originally, I think the idea maybe started about 10, longer, 10, 15 years ago, really. And but we had the first event, and it was just such a huge success, wasn't it? It was just.
I had to kick him out at 7:30 at night. I couldn't just.
But like you say, there's just something about getting everyone together, everyone talking together, everyone giving their experiences. That's where the magic happens. You know, and I find this with Beauty Directors Club when we all get together. But there's just something about a group of people from the industry getting together, and there's no sort of egos or anything in the room. Everyone just is there to support and help each other and learn.
I got 5 or 6 calls the very next day with people just absolutely just
the feedback.
Brilliant.
That was amazing.
It was just phenomenal. And it's really strange because we've got all of these business owners that all have similar challenges in their business, are predominantly single-owned businesses. So who do they turn to? Okay. Everybody they talk to outside of their business is either not in the industry, or if they are in the industry, are trying to sell them something. Okay. And yet put them in a room together and give them some education on some business skill sets. You know, we chose personal development and effectively tech and technology and AI and how to use social media correctly, because no one's given them any lessons on it. And but what came out was this collaborative approach of, you know, I'm going to come to your salon, and what a brilliant way of solving that problem. I've been trying to push against that for ages, and that's how you've done it. And I'm going to have to come and learn off you. And then suddenly you've got people that would probably see each other as competitors. Why, I do not know, but this kind of closed mind thinking, just to see open mind thinking. And I know 3 occasions where from that meeting, people have swapped and visited each other's businesses and seen and picked up ideas. So it's crazy. I've got a dentist who runs an aesthetic clinic visiting a beauty salon to learn how to get that energy that the beauty operator has compared with the clinical side of the dentist, and vice versa. So they both learn off each other. It's great. It's been brilliant.
That's what I loved about our event as well, because everyone was in together.
Yeah.
Everyone always says, the medics and the beauty side want to stay separate. There was none of that in that room.
Yeah.
We had, like you say, we had dentists in there, we had doctors in
Harley
there.
Street doctors.
Yep. And, I think there was someone from the medical profession who came and said, I've never been to anything like this. He said, and I think someone had said to you, you know what, normally we would have to pay an absolute fortune for this. And there was someone who came up and said, I think it's just changed my life. And you just, I always think when you do something like that, even if you help one person,
just one.
It's life changing. But we had a whole room full of it, and it was lovely with the amount of the companies that came to support and everything. Yeah. I think it was.
Yeah, business can be, in my book, two things. It can either be a transactional concept, or it can be an emotional concept. And if you gauge everything on transaction value and what's that customer worth to us, or what can we get out of them, and everything is judged on that relationship on a transactional value, it's only going to last so long. Whereas if you have more of an emotional connection and want to help, I mean, just that saying, and that's why probably we align so well, is if we can help just one person, then it's worked.
Yeah.
The money will probably come, but it wasn't done for money.
No.
It was done for raising the bar of our industry and giving back, or being able to see what's needed from that satellite position and putting it on the table. And then what you get back is trust. And then from trust. And who doesn't want to run a business when you're actually working with colleagues and partners? You trust each other. I mean, that's basically the fundamental. You look at all of the great entrepreneurs and business of the world, there's this trust element running through it that you can hang your hat on. And whether that's a small nail salon, or whether it's a multi-roomed advanced beauty clinic, or whether it's a huge Harley Street aesthetic medical clinic, it's trust.
Yeah.
It's the same. The commodity is trust, isn't it?
Yeah. And behind it all, it's business, isn't it?
Yeah.
I always like to say, everyone started with that dream of having the business, and then that fear of going into it, and then starting with just one client, one customer.
Yeah.
And then it's what you do from there, isn't it? And, we had a room full of people. Every business was different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yet
the same, because it's a lonely place. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah. You have to look in that mirror every morning and go, right, got to do it again. Yeah. But the excitement is when you do it, at the end of the day, you come back and go, I've done it again. And I've done it for me and my clients and so on. So, yeah, it was a thoroughly good thing. Yes, let's do lots more. It's the right way to go. And I think generally in the way that the world is at the moment, and with all the tech and, as you say, AI, you can't ignore AI. If you're not embracing AI, we're in trouble. So you've got to embrace it. But it is a bit wildy west at the moment. There are some crazy things going on. So again, being a business, you're naturally cautious, yet entrepreneurial. So you've got those two devils, if you like. Yeah, you have to kind of put together. And if we can put a human in there, that you can literally look in the eyes and say, right, this is good. And you say, yeah, it's good.
So with technology, because I know you're always 2-3 steps ahead, where do you see things are going?
In terms of generally, well, globally, the world is much smaller in terms of manufacturing. The quality of manufacture is getting better and better and better. Yeah.
Okay.
International certification is a must. So if you're looking at technology, if you're looking at devices, do they have the certifications? If you're looking at lasers, though they carry MHRA accreditation, which makes it a medical laser, so that means it's good enough to go into hospitals and doctors and so on. So it does what it says on the tin. Does it at least carry a correct certification for CE? And that's giving you the quality assurance.
Right. On that note, how would someone know? Did they ask? Because, again, with AI, someone can print something off and like go, oh, yeah, we've got that. So how do you guarantee that you are, I mean, obviously buying from someone like you guys, you guarantee that. But, how would you know if another piece of equipment was genuine or not?
Very good question. So, and the salon owner is in a really precarious position here. They are bound by the law of health and safety, which is looking after the consumer. So they have a duty to make sure that any piece of equipment that they have is safe.
Yes.
Yeah, that's why and that will require a certification of quality assurance, normally seen as a C and an E together. That should be accompanied by normally a 4 or 5 digit number. It should also have the origin and the actual factory name of where it's made, and should have an EN number on it. Even though we're out of Europe, we still operate to the European law until the new UK CE mark comes into place.
Okay.
On some of our consumer goods, that's already in place. Our industry is kind of at the back of a long waiting list at the moment because we don't have the resource in this country to stamp anything. But long and short of it, if it's European CE marked, that's absolutely perfect. And even going forward, if you carry the European CE mark, the UK CE will be based on their certification numbers. So EN numbers are really important. Where it's manufactured, the address and the name of the manufacturer, the actual factory, and the CE mark gives you a recourse, if that makes sense.
So you can check that out.
You can check that out.
That's
genuine. You can go and you can go on to. Normally, they'll also have the testing house.
Right.
That has done the testing and issued that CE mark, and there's about 5 of them. So the UK Kite Mark is a great example, and lots of German. There's a couple of German companies that do it, and they're recognised. And if you type in your EN number, it will track back and say that is a laser. And then you can actually where it's made, and it should marry up, if that makes sense. If it's a laser for hair removal or medical-based treatments, or any device actually that proclaims to have a medical standard, the MHRA, the Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, the people that regulate our vaccines, there's a register there. So if you register them, they've done all that checking for you. So that's a great indication.
Brilliant.
Every machine that you buy, your supplier should be willing to provide a manual with all of that technical data on the front page of that manual anyway. So you're getting that. You want to get deep dive a little bit more, so there's ticking all the boxes. A good supplier should be able to provide you with a plethora of customers that already have it.
Amazing.
Other salons. So do a little bit of sense checking if you have any concern. The length the company's been supplying for is a really good indicator.
Yeah. The thing is, because there are so many companies, and there are some great smaller companies, but I think when you're investing in a substantial amount of money in something, look for longevity in a company as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. And look, we started our business from literally a pasting table in a garage. So we were tiny. We stood there at our first exhibition, and we kind of pulled up in a car with a boot and emptied our stuff out and stood there next to all these multi-million pound companies. But our principles were right. So we made sure that our supply chain was secure. It ticked all the boxes. We want a reputation. We want to sleep at night. So we want to provide good quality and good service to get results. And if that's not what customers or salons want, then you're probably not our customer. Our principles, businesses have their own principles, and everybody has a right to have a commercial success. So you tend to find that you attract the same type of customer that has the same principles as you. And hence why I always keep going on about supermarkets. We're Waitrose. Or Marks and Spencer's Food Hall. You ask anybody in my company, if you're a supermarket, what would it be? And we make no bones about it. And Aldi and Tesco's and Sainsbury's and Lidl's and all those other supermarkets, they're hugely successful, multi-million pound turnover businesses. But we are Waitrose. Waitrose don't try and be Aldi. You don't see Aldi price match.
No.
I think that they're not there. But they're also not Harrods and Fulton and Masons.
Yeah.
And they have their clients. So that's about picking where you want to position yourself in the market and the client that you want. And that's the same for salons, isn't it?
But I mean, but you're looking for a piece of equipment that's going to last years and years and years. You know, this is the thing. So it's like you're not necessarily paying more. You're just paying for quality.
Yeah. It's the value that you perceive in the price. And, you know, let's be honest. The lower, and if price is your main object, I think you're probably going around it the wrong way for a long-term business decision, because the price you pay today may cost you a lot in the not so far future. Yeah. Where value comes in is when you're building equipment is using the top quality components that are capable of actually delivering to the purpose that you've advertised. Yeah. And with longevity and trust. So, you know, offering up to 3 years warranty is an indication to the buyer that the supplier is using top end components to build it. And top end components cost more than bottom end components. It's quite simple.
Yeah.
And most distributors and most businesses will probably run on the same margin and the same EBITDA. So if the price is cheap, they need to do lots and lots of volume. Hence, you start getting into if you don't buy today, you're not going to get the special price and all of those kind of things, because the pressure is great volume. Where other companies will say, look, this is a lot more than the other product, and a lot more. So you really have to go back, but we only sell 1 or 2 of these a month, if that makes sense, rather than 10 or 15 or 20.
But I mean, it's the same in our businesses. Yeah. You know, it's the same, a business that's doing the 40, 50 pound facials opposed to one doing 150 pound facials. You've got to do more to make that, to generate that same income.
And that's a really interesting point, because when we look at the state of the industry at the moment, and when I say industry, I mean, I just think just generally, I think consumers, and we are getting older, we're having less children, so we've got a more wiser consumer, if that makes sense. They're understanding the difference between price and cost is value.
Yeah.
And with costs going up, if consumers aren't seeing the value in your service, they're not coming back. Exactly. Yeah. And it doesn't matter whether you're the cheapest or the most expensive, it's the value in between.
Yep.
And I don't mind spending £150 on a facial if it's going to structurally change the cellular health of my skin.
Yeah.
Yep. And you can do that these days. I mean, it's crazy when we talk about technology. Advancements are absolutely crazy.
Because you talk a lot now about regenerative skincare and treatments.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Yeah. So regenerative skincare comes from regenerative medicine. And the principle of regenerative medicine and skincare is the very fact that the body is the best solution to itself. So in simple terms, if we get a cut, and we put a plaster over that surface cut, and we just leave it. We don't do anything with it. There's just a plaster on it to stop infection. Why do we do that? Because we know that when we take that plaster off in 4 or 5 days' time, miraculously, the healing fairies have buried underneath that plaster, got cellular tissue to recombine itself, pores to recreate, layers and layers and layers of thousands, maybe millions of cellular activity to come back and regenerate and create a new version of yourself. And 2 weeks later, you wouldn't know that there was a cut there. The body's done that all by itself because it's got this most amazing system of repairing and antibodies and growth factors and stem cells and all of these things that are all there. And so the regenerative skincare approach is looking at technology platforms, but also in skincare that encourages the skin to do its best job. And rather traditional beauty correcting, and stimulating, we can now regenerate and grow, and tissue, and actually take the biological age of skin health, the cellular structure, backwards. which is quite amazing. Yeah.
Wow.
So you can be
literally be 10 years younger.
You literally, yes, absolutely. You can be biologically and your skin could have the health, and we can measure it. We've got measuring tools. We can measure collagen levels, and this is where you are now, and we can do all of that kind of stuff.
Lab's amazing.
Yeah. Do all of that, and that's scientific measurement tools, and we can actually prove to clients that your skin, map it and benchmark it. You've now reintroduced collagen, and let's be frank, after the age of 28, we start losing collagen. By the time you're 50, you could have lost up to 50% of the collagen in your skin. Hence why we have wrinkles and skin laxity and all of those things. But we can actually not stimulate the collagen that you've got there now that is aging and getting tired. We can actually get the stem cells to start regenerating new collagen. Collagen that you hadn't got before. So we can actually increase the collagen levels back to something like you had 10, 15 years younger. It is possible. And that's really exciting. And it's been the mainstay in the aesthetic medicine market for a long time, with some big, heavy, expensive kit. The democratization of the global manufacturing means that really good quality, certified, quality assured equipment can now come into the market at a much cheaper, but with the clinical provenance that is proof. So I need to try it and test it. Yeah, good. You should always try and test any product that you're having because you've got to explain it to a client. But actually, who are you to suggest that it works or not because it worked on you? Why don't you look at a clinical study that's over 150 people? Oh, actually, why don't you look at 20 clinical studies? So if you can have that clinical proof and you can offer to that customers, you've broken that kind of cost value that this works.
Yeah.
It's proven to work, and we can actually change. And that really enters up another area because we think in beauty, perhaps anti-aging all the time. The big growth market, and this is really exciting, is it's this newer, younger customer that's probably never had a Botox, for example, has never had an injectable. And they're coming in at 25, 26. And because of internet and because of social media, they're much more educated. And they're seeing things happen, and it's interesting to them. So they're going, actually, I don't want to start losing collagen at 28 and 30. I'm going to start prejuvenating. Well, suddenly what's really exciting to operators is my kind of average entry into my anti-aging treatments was kind of 35.
Yeah, and now it's just come down.
Yeah, 35 to 55 or 65. Yeah. Now my entry into anti-aging or prejuvenation is that 25 to 35 group.
Yeah.
So it's really exciting. So it just it's opened up and widened probably by about a third your potential market.
Yeah. So mainly what we're talking about, we talk about Tixel, Mesotix.
Anything that can stimulate collagenesis. So if I kind of put it in simply, because it can get quite complicated, and there's lots of platforms that can provide a regeneration of skin. When we look at thermolysis, and that's where heat creates a reaction.
Yes.
And that can be laser, that can be RF, that can be TMA as a technology, all of those things. If we heat up cells to around the 40 to 50 degrees, we stimulate what we have.
Yes.
Yeah. If we heat up cells or targeted areas and create a micro trauma, a fractional micro trauma, so a trauma in only 15% of any one area, so very little, but we get to a temperature around 60 to 65, we do something called coagulation, collagenesis. We start exciting cells to create new collagen. Yeah.
Nice.
Bingo. If we go over up to 100, then we get something called ablation. And that's very effective, but then there's a lot of downtime. And that really, we believe, sits in that medical, there can be complications that perhaps the beauty therapist, even maybe allowance for 4 and 5, maybe is just a bit beyond them. Your insurance company will dictate that. We specialize in that kind of regeneration area. And for years, it's really economically been priced out of the traditional advanced beauty salon, the progressive specialist, the beauty salon that has probably a smaller menu of treatments than they've traditionally had, but want to be known as a specialist, people, the kind of salon that friends and family recommend.
Yes.
That I've travelled an hour because I've been told how great you are, and I want.
Exactly.
I've tried everything else, but I want something that gives some permanency to what I want to do. And I know it's going to cost me a little bit more now, but actually it's going to save me. Long term. I mean, it's going to save me a fortune in the future. And that's, if you're that kind of thinking, this is the area that you need to be working in, regenerative, and it's come from a clinical background. And we look at laser hair removal now, which is democratized. You can get it on every high street, and there's some fantastic machines, there's some not so fantastic, but there's some really good operators, and it makes sense. We followed Europe. It's given a permanent solution to unwanted hair. And we go back 20 years, you were looking at £80,000-90,000 for a top-end machine. Now that it's become democratized and is widely available, the cost of manufacturing those machines have come down, economies of scale. So now it's an entry level that allows you to charge not £700 a treatment, that treatment now, and taking 2 hours. Technology has come down. We can do the same laser hair removal treatment in half an hour and charge £150.
Yeah.
So it's now affordable to a wider audience. That's now happening in the skincare and all of that stuff. So
yeah, but I think that's where it does get more confusing, because once over, I think you looked at a piece of equipment and it was like an absolute fortune, like you say, like lasers, like £80,000-90,000. You'd think that's going to do what it says. Now we've got like the lesser priced ones. It's like then picking from those which is the really good, which is the really really effective, and that's where all the research comes in.
A bit of research, but I mean, do we go all a bit silly when it comes to buying a piece of equipment? Because if you were buying food, and if you were buying, let's just say you're buying food, you would like to go to a place that looks hygienic. You like to go to a place where things are packaged, that has a provenance, that has the retailer has been there for some time, that you hear good things about, that so on, and you can look at it and feel it and touch it, and yes, I'm going to buy that piece of produce and feed my family that I love. Then all of a sudden it comes to equipment and beauty industry, and it's a big shiny bells and whistles, and all of that sense seems to go about. Just who are you buying from? What's the reputation like? Do they have certification? Have you spoken to any of their clients?
Yeah,
that's the company done. And before you buy it, do my customers want it?
Yeah.
So it's that simple. You don't have to go completely crazy, but they do let. And it was only the other week that I get a little bit annoyed with this. If I don't give them an answer today, I'm going to lose the deal.
Oh, yeah.
No.
I hear that all the time.
If you don't give them an answer today, they're going to lose a customer.
Yeah.
They'll have that deal available until you're ready to go with it. And it might be a really good deal. It might be a really good product. But if the motivation is based on time, you have to question the motivation of them as a partner.
Yeah. I always like to say, if someone's bought that piece of equipment to resell, they've bought it at X amount. Yeah. Like, that offer is going to be there. Like that margin that they need to make is still there a week down the line, 2 weeks down the line.
Most probably, absolutely.
If you've been pressurised, it's not the right way to buy.
No. That's that emotional buy.
And I'd like to think that the market's changing.
Yeah,
in that.
I like to think so. We don't get too many shotgun weddings anymore. So why have a shotgun purchase? Yeah. If you've got a gun to your head to buy something, not your partner. Yeah. That's not a partner for life, is it?
Yeah. Yeah, but this is what I love about you guys. Josh, we could talk for hours, and we normally do.
I tend to.
If anyone wants to book a discovery call, we'll put all of the details into the show notes. And then obviously as well, we're going to have like different things as you guys, they'll be part of this podcast for quite a while.
And we're delighted to be associated with you, because obviously your reputation, and we've known each other a long time, and as partners both in clinic and in education, is great. So discovery calls, we'll have a chat. Let us ascertain.
I think it's like something like a discovery call, though. It's just good to have a chat and to if it's not for now, to think, right, this is what I'm aiming for. 6 months down the line, I'm going to be looking to get something like that.
Yeah, we're not. This isn't about hard sell. This is understanding, where do you sit as an individual in a greater marketplace, and maybe talk to somebody that speaks to people like you as a business owner from all around the country and say, what are the trends? Is the social media right? Is everybody Tai Chi walking? No, they're not, right? Okay, promise you, okay? But it's because you clipped onto one algorithm, and those big, powerful metas of the world have driven all this traffic your way. So talk to someone that maybe, 17 years in its current form, we've made lots of mistakes, so perhaps you don't have to. So let us just have a talk, and we'll say, this is what's happening in the market. These are the winners, these are the losers as genres. And these are the kind of price points. And if you want some assets to go and send out to your customers and see if there's an appetite for it, great. If you just want a chat to see what the state of the industry is, we'd love to talk to you.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you very much.
Amazing.
Cheers.